Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back to my channel, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another day of fighting fantasy frolics and fun as we play gamebook number 23, The Masks of Mayhem, which I keep referring to as the greyest cover in the fighting fantasy series. And that is pretty much all I know about it. It's grey. It's very grey. Um, right. I don't think there's anything else I want to tell you today, actually. Let's just get started. So. Right, here we are on my desk. I've got my book, my supplies, yes, my book, my character sheet, which is blank, my map, which is blank, my pens, pencil, and dice, and a nice cup of tea. Yes. All the essentials for a day of saving the world. Right, so let's get started. I don't know much about this book at all. As I said, I know that it belongs to a James Bulber. It looks like here it says on the inside cover. And let's see. So we got skill, stamina, luck. So skill, stamina. Luck, basic stuff, it looks like. Skill, 10 is good. Stamina, 23 is even better. And luck is 8, which is, I suppose, all right for starting out the first time. I don't know how important a luck is going to be in this one. In some of the game books, luck is really pivotal to survival. There are, in many books, luck rolls that basically is the difference between life and death. Very common, especially in Livingston's books. Just check anything else here. It looks pretty standard. You have 10 provisions, so enough for 10 meals to restore 4 stamina for each one. You have a potion, and in this time, because I have, I suppose, a decent skill, and of course usually skill is not something you lose so easily, I'm going to go with a potion of fortune, which will restore my luck and also add 1 to my initial luck score. So my luck is now 8, but of course at some point I will be able to make it a 9 and restore it and get an extra one. Adventure sheet has been used a little bit. Let's just start reading now, shall we? So yeah. Background. You are the just and noble ruler of Arion in northeast Cool. Your people prosper and the land flourishes, but trouble is brewing. One day your court wizard Ivar Tynan summons you. Though you are the ruler, he is your equal because of his knowledge of sorcery. Each of you relies on the other for the governing of the land, but you can never quite overcome a suspicion of anyone involved in the sorcerer's arts. And I'm wondering if that means that Ivar is someone I'm suspicious of, and maybe he's up to no good. He could be in cahoots with the evil forces of the book. Who knows? Well, let's find out. Ivar Tynan comes straight to the point. You have heard, of course, of Morgana, the sorceress, whose abode is the 5 peaks of Krill Garnash in the northern mountains. I have travelled in my astral body to her lair to watch over her evil designs. There are 12 forms, the sigils which hold the keys of power over all things. This has long been known to those who pursue the righteous side of my ancient art. Without this knowledge, we would be unable to assist the thriving of the world. Morgana has acquired this knowledge, though the Council of Elders bans such as her from it. She has made masks of 11 of the sigils, and fitted them on undead golems, creatures of stone. She lacks only the 12th. A golem's undead. I mean, undead, when you talk about undead, you're usually talking about something that used to be alive, that has died, and then has been reanimated, so been undied. A golem, on the other hand, has never had life. It's an lifeless, inanimate object that has been given animation and life. So it's made out of rock or mud or things like that. You wouldn't call it undead, would you? But what would you call it? What kind of class of creature is a golem? Fitted them on undead golems, creatures of stone. She lacks only the 12th, which binds the other together and makes them effective. So I suppose it's the ruling mask, the one mask to rule them all. And to bind them, apparently, as well. The power over all creation will be hers to do what she will, and she will unleash her golems over all the world. They will be irresistible, because they will be the essence of all things, and nothing can resist its essence. She plans to create havoc with her undead creatures, and has imbued the masks with the power of mayhem, which awaits only the 12th to be made actual. You must slay Morgana. You are the noblest ruler and the boldest fighter of the land. Only you can succeed. And I'm quite interested to see that noblest ruler actually gets top billing there. The things you need to beat a sorceress, the first thing you need is not to be a noble ruler, is it? Or is it? Maybe it is. Maybe there is a twist. You interrupt. But why can't your council do something about her? His reply is grim. Because in such a magical battle, the forces that will be released may cause almost as much damage as the full set of 12 golems. Only one such as yourself, armed with purity of purpose, is impervious to most of our magical arts, whether good or evil. Yes, it must be you for our plan to succeed. And there, of course, is the, I suppose, the explanation, isn't it? If you are armed with purity of purpose, which is a very good line, by the way. And of course, I'm the noblest ruler and the boldest fighter, and therefore I need both those things to be able to resist, I suppose, the evil of the magic that Morgana is creating. His words have filled you with dread and eagerness. Your preparations are swift, and you depart early the next morning. Turn to 1. Can you hear the lawn mowing going on? I mean, this time of year, it's so hard to make a video. I mean, if I make a video during the day, there's always going to be some noise outside. Oh, well. And of course, the pesky sunlight as well. Right, so we have on our map, that is in short, yes, indeed. Right, one. So let's turn to 1 and not now turn over, actually. That's unusual, but there you go. Before setting off, you enter the armory. Kevin Truehand, your trusted but now aged armorer, has been honing your sword and burnishing your helmet with its strangely simple device. This helmet has been handed down from generation to generation of rulers of Arion, and legend has it that if it were ever to fall into the wrong hands, chaos would stalk the streets of your city. That's a very nice picture, by the way. Very nice shading, I must say. This is, did I see it right? Ross Nicholson, is it? Ross Nicholson, in a slightly more accomplished style, perhaps, one might say, than in The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. As you put on the helmet and buckle your sword to your belt, Truehand whispers to you, as if afraid that someone might hear. Majesty, seek first the castle of Heather, Lord of Fallowdale, for you are bound for Krilgarnash, where evil dwells, and Heather has a horn which strikes terror into any evil heart. Therefore I say, seek the halls of Heather, and win from him, however you can, this precious horn. Is that writing style a little bit quaint? I mean, the dialogue reads a little bit like an epic, like you would expect in an epic. So yeah, it doesn't really, I don't know, necessarily go so well with the prose of the rest. But yeah, anyway, I don't mind anyway. I quite like that sort of style. With that, he turns aside, and you set out through the paved streets of Arion and out of the northern gateway, the Gate of Skulls. Turn to 53. 5, 3. Still no choices. Truehand's advice seems sound. Not far north of Arion is the vast Lake Necros. Just north of the lake lies Fallow Dale. From there you could head north and slightly east over Pikestaff Plain, leaving Marsh Vile to the west and through the foothills and mountains until you come to Krilganash itself, with its 5 ice-capped peaks lost in the clouds. After a few days of easy travel, with springs and game so plentiful that you still have all your original provisions, you reach the southern shore of Lake Necros and the end of civilization as you know it. Beyond this, the ways are unknown to the people of Arion. Within memory, Lake Necros has never been crossed. People speak of unfathomable depth, spawning hideous monsters, and of strange and mysterious winds and currents which turn the chill, still waters into whirlpools and ungovernable waves. Nevertheless, your most direct route is across it. Will you, bold hero that you are, build a raft and embark across the lake, or strike out around its eastern edge, through the rolling hills, or around its western edge, through Affen Forest? So, 3 options. It seems a bit daft for someone who is not a seafaring person to build a raft to go across a lake that you hear is not supposed to be crossed. It sounds like you're really asking for trouble. And also, building a raft takes absolute ages, and you probably would be around the lake by the time you finish the raft, on foot. So it doesn't make any logical sense. So I am going to go around the western edge, I think, through the forest. So forest, lake. Although there is another thing, because already there are references to Arthurian legend here with Morgana as the evil sorceress. I'm wondering, is there going to also be a Lady of the Lake that gives you a magical sword that will help you in your fight against Morgana? Just a thought. There could be. 2, 4, 5. Should I try the lake then? First time. Yeah, let's go for the lake. Okay. So let's go see what happens on the lake. What happens on the lake stays on the lake, probably, or sinks deep down in it. Night has fallen by the time you have completed your raft. Strangely, when you launch it, no ripples disturb the surface of the lake, and the gibbous moon is not reflected in its dark depths. You have paddled no more than 100 meters when 5 thick tentacles pull you forever under the water. So that is the end. So basically, don't do that. Don't swim in the lake. Okay, so and then I see I put my arrows in the wrong place here. It's supposed to be like that. So we're not going by the lake. The warnings were you're supposed to heed the warnings. Right, finger bookmark coming up, and we are going to do the original plan, which is to take the forest route. So we're going to go to 21. Yeah, I'm not going to finish my video this early, am I? It's just 15 minutes in. Okay, so before long you reach the first trees. As you walk through the forest, keeping the lake in sight on your right hand, the evergreen trees get older and taller. Their branches form a dark canopy above your head, through which only the occasional beam of sunlight breaks. Even these welcome shafts die out as you continue northwards on the first leg of your hazardous journey, but only because night is beginning to fall. Would you camp here by the lakeside, or carry on through the deepening dusk? So 2 options. Either to camp, 316, or carry on, 242. Carry on or camp. So of course, both camping and carrying on can be hazardous in a fighting fantasy gamebook. I'm not a bit wary of camping this close to the... Oh, what's that? Is that an insect? Oh, it's a tiny little thing that was hovering. It looked like a mote of dust that was moving around, but it was sort of flying a little bit in different directions, so it might have been an insect. Anyway, shall we camp or shall we move on? I think I'm just going to carry on, actually. I'm feeling a bit iffy about camping on the lakeside now after my previous incarnation got dragged down by tentacles. So, will you keep close to the lake where the trees are thinner and the bank offers a crude path, or turn slightly west into the depths of the forest? Either could be bad or good. So close to the lake or deeper into the forest. Now, the advantage of walking, I mean, will there be something that will come out of the lake to drag me in? Or will something in the forest try to eat me? Is the question. I'm going to go into the forest, actually. 171. Now that is an illustration that definitely looks like a Ross Nicholson, doesn't it? Let's see. Let's zoom, focus on that a little bit. Like so. Yeah, that's very Ross. There we are. You twist and turn your way through the undergrowth, but it does not seriously hinder you. Then, with no forewarning, lights blaze from several trees. You have stumbled into the camp of a band of Spriggans. You recognize them immediately from your childhood nurse's description and warnings. They are a grotesquely ugly branch of the fairy folk who have not inherited the sweetest position of their cousins. They are cowardly thieves who prefer to rob old women, but with their ability to bloat themselves to several times their normal diminutive size, they will make formidable foes even for you. There are 6 of them, but if you defeat the first 2, the others will run away. The cowards approach one at a time. Cowards don't approach one at a time. They try to gang up on you, don't they? Okay, so I've got a 1023 and they have 6, 8 and 7, 8. And so that's the first one. I got 4 skill point advantage. He rolls 6, I roll 6, 5, 9, 10, 6, draw, 8, 11, 5, and 6. So he's dead. Next one, I got 3 skill point advantage. He rolls 4, which means I can't lose that round. 8, 9, 8, 8, and 5, and 8. So they are both dead, and the other ones run away. So let's see, 6, 8, 7, 8. And winning, we go to 106. And a bit of a victory. Sip of tea. The fleeing Spriggans did not gather up all their belongings. You find 10 gold pieces. Oh, hang on, I forgot to check. Do I actually start with any money? It is one of those things you usually do, but does not look like it. Okay, so I didn't have any money to start with, but now I have gold 10. So you find 10 gold pieces and a large garnet ring. But nothing else of value. The Spriggans had evidently been a thieving party. You decide to spend what remains of the night in the welcome light of the Spriggans' magical lamps, which will disappear at full light. But until then, you reckon we'll keep any... Which will disappear at full light, but until then, you reckon we'll keep any further hostile creatures at bay. That was a long sentence. In fact, the time does pass quietly. In the morning, with mist from the lake drifting between the trees, you discover two paths, both heading roughly north. Will you take the northwest path or the northeast path? Let's just put down here 10 gold pieces and a garnet ring. And then we have two options of two different paths, and it's northeast 398 or northwest 115. I'm going to go northeast 398. Reduce your stamina by 2 points if you have not eaten during the night. Okay, that's... But I could have... There would have been some food left in the camp. I could have... That seems a bit unfair. I mean, they were camping for the night. There would have been food there. When you resume your interrupted journey... I don't know, is this right? Because it just doesn't flow with the previous paragraph at all, does it? Yeah. When you resume your interrupted journey... What interrupted journey? I haven't interrupted my journey. I've camped for the night. When you resume your interrupted journey, wisps of mist are still drifting between the trunks of the tall evergreen trees, and what was that? Was it just a patch of mist at the edge of your vision, or was it some living creature? An arrow thudding into a tree trunk centimeters from your head soon answers these questions. Will you remain motionless, or duck down into the undergrowth? As that paragraph doesn't really follow at all from the previous one. Anyway. So stamina -2. And then we have two options. My journey was not interrupted until now, and yeah, I don't know. 3, 3, 4, or dark 2, 5, 2, 5, 1. Well, if the thing hit centimeters from my head, were they trying to hit me or were they trying to miss? If they were trying to miss, I want to remain motionless. If they were trying to hit me, I want to duck. So I'm going to duck down into the undergrowth. 2, 5, 1. Peeping between the branches of the bramble which you are using as cover, you can see wood elves flitting noiselessly from tree trunk to tree trunk, and in this zigzag fashion getting closer to the spot where you are lying. While wood elves are decidedly not friendly towards human beings, they are not usually hostile, unless their beloved woods have, in their opinion, been interfered with. Will you stand up and extend friendly greetings towards the elves? Or, since you cannot see any elves behind you, try to back out of this confrontation? 195. I'm going to try to talk to them, I think. I mean, they're obviously angry about something, but I'm sure it's not my fault, so I'm going to go to 3, 3, 4. Six wood elves step up to you with a mixture of curiosity and caution, and then politely but firmly lead you away. Will you make a break for it, or let yourself be taken wherever you are going? Okay. So 130 or 28. Let's just follow or run. I'm going to just let myself be taken and see what happens. Nice picture again there. The wood elves eventually stop in an empty clearing, speak some words in an arcane liquid language. That's a strange way to call Elvish, isn't it? Is Elvish an arcane liquid language? What does even liquid language mean? It's not a linguistic term. And immediately the village is visible in the clearing. Well, it's magic anyway. Of course, wood elves' villages are often protected by magic. You are taken to the largest hut, which is set well apart from the others at the far end of the village. Inside, the chief elf and his shaman are gazing seriously into a crystal mirror and muttering darkly to each other. They look up when you enter, and astonishment spreads over their faces. They dismiss your guards, and then the chief addresses you. Stranger, he says, what is it that you want? What are you doing here? Would you tell them of your quest, make up some other reason for being in the forest, or try to look in the mirror? So, elves behaving really strangely, I must say. So 218, 5, 87. So truth, lie, or mirrors. I'm going to tell the truth, of course. I mean, why wouldn't I tell the truth? I am an honest, noble person with a high level. I mean, a lawful good, I suppose you would call it in Dungeons and Dragons terms. So I'm going to tell him about my quest. 218. We have seen something of this in the mirror, says the chief, when you have finished explaining about your quest. If your hands are tied, turn to 319, otherwise turn to 154. My hands are not tied. I presume that is what would have happened if I tried to run away in that case. So let's see, hands tied or not. 319, tied, or 154, not. My hands are not tied, 154. You may ask one question of us to aid you in your quest, says the chief. A bit stingy with their information, aren't they? If they wanted to help me, wouldn't they just say, ask all the questions you like? You've got 5 minutes, maybe, something like that. Would you ask about Galrin? I don't even know who Galrin is, do I? Why would I ask about Galrin if I don't know who Galrin is? But they said, they were looking in the mirror and they said, we have seen something of this. Maybe I should ask them what they have seen in the mirror. So I'm going to ask them what they've seen in the mirror. 169. Take a look for yourself, says the chief, and hands you the mirror. At first, when you look in it, it is cloudy, but presently a brief image of startling clarity and potency emerges. You see yourself standing between two majestic oaks. Your arms are raised into the air and each hand is holding an object, but the image is instantaneous, and you have time only to see that one of the objects is long, before the mirror returns to its former cloudy state. So this tells me perhaps I need 2 specific objects for this mission, and one of them is long. Oh, and my nose just got really itchy suddenly. Oh. That's so annoying. Okay. Before the mirror returns to its former cloudy state. Still, there is no doubt that you will remember this if you ever find yourself in such a spot. Add 1 luck point, which doesn't really help me. So +1 luck. Clue, I suppose I'll put there. You hand the mirror back to the chief. He and the shaman smile at you knowingly. There is more that we have seen, says the shaman, but to tell you would deprive you of free choice, which is what determines a hero. Is it? Almost every time you have heroes in literature, it is because it is their destiny. And destiny, by its very definition, means no free choice. In a way. It's the very definition of a lack of free choice. There are riddles for the hearing and sigils for the seeing, and danger at every turn. The true path is narrow, but now you must continue your quest elsewhere. There are riddles for the hearing and sigils for the seeing. Yeah. He mutters a spell, the village begins to dissolve, and you feel yourself floating. So is he now transporting me somewhere else, perhaps? Might be. 382. You find yourself among mist-shrouded hills. The position of the sun, dimly perceived behind the mist, tells you that you have been transported to the eastern side of the lake. So maybe this is exactly where I would have ended up if I'd gone around to the east, but I wouldn't have met the elves or got the information from them. I wouldn't have got the gold or the garnet ring. So at the moment, it seems like going west is the correct choice. Will you stay where you are until the mist clears, or press on regardless? Okay. Misty, yeah, okay. $27 or 138. Mist clear or 138. Press on. I'll wait until the mist clears. The chill mist seeps into your bones. You slap yourself and jump up and down to keep warm, but you'll still lose 2 stamina points. So -2 stamina. I suppose I may as well eat a provision now, so I am up to my full 23 again. Turn to 362. 362. As the mist begins to clear, you can see buildings in the shallow valley below you. You duck down behind a stone. When you dare to peek around the stone, you find that the buildings are in fact the dilapidated remains of a mine of some kind. They are obviously uninhabited, at any rate by their former inhabitants. Will you have a look around or skirt the area? So I'm going to have a look around, I think. So let's see. So 181, a look, or 343, skirt. So I'm going to have a look and see if there's anything interesting going on here. Will you investigate the main shaft, turn to 36, the outhouse whose roof has collapsed, or the hut which looks fairly intact? So we've got 3 options there. 36, 1212 or 107, and that is main shaft, outhouse, or hut. I'm going to have a look at the hut, I think. It takes your eyes a few moments to adjust to the gloom after the bright sunshine outside. Then you see that, although the ceiling is festooned with cobwebs, the floor is fairly free of dust. And there is a table with a wooden bowl and spoon on it, and a crudely made stool tucked underneath. Will you leave before the occupant of the hut appears, or look around? I am going to look around, I think. So 231 or 279, look or leave. So I'm going to have a look and see. When you move further into the hut, a shape detaches itself from the deep shadows of one of the corners and shuffles towards you. At that moment, a beam of light which is pouring through a small hole in the roof illuminates your helmet. Immediately, the shape stops its shuffling, and you can now see that it is a human hermit or beggar of some kind, and he appears to be fascinated by your helmet. The next instant, the hermit drops to the floor and grovels at your feet, like an abject servant before his master or mistress. "They told me," he whimpers, half in ecstasy, half in fear. "They told me you would come." This is a bit alarming. "Who told you?" you ask. "The voices. The voices!" is all the reply you get. The poor man is obviously crazy or clairvoyant. Would you leave before the owners of the voices find you there, or question the hermit further? So 231. Oops, that's the same as the other one before, actually. So I'm just going to do like that. 92. Question. I'm going to question the hermit further. You can get nothing more out of him, but while you question him, he sidles off to the side of the room and, cringing, brings back a bundle of rags which he offers to you. When you unwrap them, you discover a magnificent scepter. It is made only of iron, but is clearly of great age and has an aura of regal authority. That could be the long object that I saw myself carry in the vision in the mirror. You want to ask the old man about it, but he has collapsed unconscious on the floor. As you are stowing the scepter safely in your pack, you notice that it is inscribed with runes, which you translate as "there should be just one ruler." Then you leave. Turn to 231. So, scepter. Now this absolutely sounds like an essential item. So I'm going to do like that. Put a big circle around that. I'm going to make a note of it on my character sheet that I have the scepter of ruling. Let's see, I wasn't very clear on the map there. Scepter. Let's put it like so. And then I go to 231. Will you investigate the main shaft, or if you haven't already done so, the collapsed hut? Okay. Earlier, the collapsed hut was described as the collapsed outhouse, not as a hut, which is a bit weird, but there you go. So it is 212 or 36. I'm going to have a look at the main shaft. 36. Somebody, James Bulber, has made a tick mark in my book with a pen. Naughty, naughty, very naughty. When you peer down the shaft, you can see a series of wooden rungs set into the smooth stone side and disappearing into darkness. A stale smell from the depths of the mine assails your nostrils. Will you go down or not? If not, you leave the area. If you go down, you can either trust to the ladder, or if you have a rope, you can tie it to a sturdy-looking beam and let yourself down. I don't have a rope, but that also is interesting because that means there is a rope to be found somewhere. So I have... Leave the area, I'll just put that up there. 3, 4, 3. So leave. And then we have... I'll just put these down here on the side. So 2, 2, 5, a rope, question mark. 2 seconds. Make sure my... Oops. Yeah, that is correct. Or the ladder, 289. Ladder. Now, just the fact that you are given the option of using a rope that you may have found tells me that maybe the ladder is going to be a bit dodgy. I'll try the ladder anyway. The rungs of the ladder remain secure for quite a way down. By this time you can hear dripping below you, and the dank smell is strong, so you must be getting close to the bottom. But the increased dampness you find has rotted the rungs. They get more and more wobbly, and then end altogether. You look down and can see the bottom, but cannot judge exactly how far it is, and the shaft is too wide for you to chimney out again. So once you're down, there will be no exit unless you can find one in the mine itself. Will you climb back out, or let yourself go into space? I think I'm going to go out again. So 54. 54. Down, or 175 back. On emerging, you see a number of horsemen lining the ridge to the south. You decide not to linger in the area. Turn to 343. Okay. So there may be something else there, but it's certainly if I mean, it's very unusual for two super essential items to be right next to each other. So the scepter does seem to be the essential thing here, and I did find that. So hopefully that'll do. We'll find out. You set your course by the sun for Fallow Dale. If you have 2 or fewer lots of provisions left, turn to 376. Otherwise, turn to 200. I think I'm going to turn the page here now, though, to a new page on my map. So that was 343. 343. So 2 or fewer provisions. That seems a bit unlikely, doesn't it? I mean, I suppose you can also... There might also be some opportunity to lose provisions. That does happen in these games sometimes. I can imagine if I let myself drop down into the mine, into the sort of dank wetness there, I might have ruined some provisions, potentially. 376 or 200. So less than 2 provisions. More than... Less than 2. Right, so I'm going to 200. The remainder of the journey to Fallow Dale is uneventful, apart from the occasional skirmish with a wild beast. Turn to 178. 178. As you descend into Fallow Dale, you recall what you know about the place. Several villages are located there, and the population is a mixture of human and other intelligent species. The villages are bound into a loose federation under a single overlord who occupies a fortified castle in the middle of the dale. Heather is the present Lord of Fallowdale, and his proud boast is that the fortifications of his castle are purely for external enemies. His villagers live at peace with one another and with him. Apart from this, you have little reliable knowledge. The people of Arion never travel far from their familiar world, and certainly not as far as Fallowdale, and few traders have passed from Heather's land to yours. Seems very isolated. I mean, in the real world, the amount of trade between neighboring areas like this would have been huge. So, you can see the castle a few kilometers away. Your route could take you through a village, or you could bypass the village by crossing a large ploughed field. Don't see any reason to not go through the village, actually. Although I may find one if I do go through a village. So 305 village, or 396 field. So I'm going to go through the village, see if something happens. And again, there is a tick mark here. Is this the correct path? I hope not. Anyway, there are few people out in the street. Maybe it's just a bookmark thing. There are few people out in the street. An old woman weaving baskets outside her front door eyes you curiously. And the blacksmith, a hulking man with at least a few pints of troll blood in his veins, stops working while you pass. Will you go into the village inn, or are you so badly hurt and wounded that you ask the blacksmith for the way to the local healer? I must have missed some opportunity for battle, because I haven't seen any good reason why I would be injured at this point. Also, why are those the only two options? I thought I was heading for the castle. Why am I going to the inn? That doesn't make any sense. So 152 healer, 99 in. I'm just passing through. I'm not supposed to go anywhere inside. For 1 gold piece, you can buy food and drink that will restore 2 stamina points. Do so if you can and want to. Then leave the village. Okay. 24. Okay, so that is 1 GP equals 2 stamina. I go to 24. It's a bit of a boring village, but there you go. Will you continue along the road or turn to cross the ploughed field you saw earlier? Okay, that is weird, structurally, actually. Especially since the field was an option to going through the village, so that's sort of, it means you take part. Yeah, you see what I mean? So some weird little things in the structure of this book that I don't actually like, I must admit. But yeah, it's minor, so it'll be fine. Another tick mark here. I'm going to go along the road, 312. A couple of villagers catch you up. They are somewhat the worse for drink. What are they doing outside of the village then? The local medlar wine is pretty potent. They take up positions one to either side of you and then talk as if you weren't there at all. A stranger. Yes, I don't hold with strangers, nor me. Let's roll this one. You have no wish to offend Heather by seriously hurting any of his people, but you will have to defend yourself against these 2 thugs. You lay aside your weapons, roll up your sleeves, and use the noble art of fisticuffs. Roll 1 die. If you roll 1 or 2, they have managed to hit you, and you must reduce your stamina by 1 point, etc., etc. Okay. So I roll 6. If you roll 5 or 6, you have succeeded in landing a blow. Once you have hit them 3 times, they will run away. So that's 1 hit for me. 4, that is a draw. 4, a draw again. 4, a draw again. Oops. 6, that's my second hit. And 5, third hit. And the fisticuffing has worked. So they will run away, and you can make your way to the castle gates. See, that's an interesting encounter, I suppose. It would have made more sense for that to happen inside the village, not after you left it, I think. But I'll put fisticuffs on my map there. And then we go to 78. It is evening when you reach the gates. 2 dwarf guards ask your business, then show you inside to a sparsely furnished waiting room. One of them returns before long. My Lord Heather is dining, he says, and asks whether you will join him. Will you accept and go straight away, or ask to be shown to your room first? You don't ask to go to your room if somebody asks you, if the lord of the manor asks you to dine with them. That doesn't make any sense. I don't think so. I'm going to accept. So there we are, 42 and so 120 room, or 42 dinner. You enter the feast room. Seated at the tables is a strange assortment of creatures. Humans rub shoulders with elves, birdmen are talking with dwarf warriors, there is even a friendly giant tucking into half a roasted ox. But over them all, the lord of his own domain, sits Heather, to whom anger and merriment are equally pleasing. You are led to the high table, where the place of honor at Heather's right hand has been kept free for you. You are welcome, cousin, booms Heather, for so I think I may address you. Be seated, and forget your tiresome journey for the hours that you pass here. Why don't I have your things taken up to your room? If you accept, you retain your sword, but your other belongings are taken away by the guard who ushered you into the great hall. If you decline, turn to 389. Am I supposed to be suspicious of these people? I do feel a little bit suspicious about them. There certainly have been some clues in the text that indicate that maybe there is something dodgy going on here. And I didn't want to lose my scepter, I suppose. Then again, would it be impolite as well? So I don't know. I would have to sort of straddle politeness with common sense now. So 71, 389. So decline. Okay, and I'm going to accept that. And of course, if that turns out that they're stealing my things, then of course that will get sorted out in the future playthrough. I'm not expecting to win this time, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to have my things taken away, apart from my sword. The meal is well in progress. Restore 4 stamina points. So let's see, plus 4 stamina. When the guard returns with a worrying tale, he was attacked by some pygmy orcs inside your room and knocked unconscious. What are pygmy orcs doing in my room? When he came to, your helmet had gone and there was no sign of the thieves. You immediately asked to be directed to your room, while Heather is busy organizing a search party. When you get there, you soon find a rope dangling out of the window to the ground below, which is outside the castle walls. Will you grab your belongings and go alone down the rope in pursuit of the thieves, or wait for Heather? Okay. Right. So we have 2 options. 166. Pursue 137. Wait. I'm going to pursue the thieves. It is difficult for you to pick up the trail of the thieves during the nighttime, even with the moon out, but some progress is made. By morning you are on the margins of Pikestaff Plain, heading north, and the tall grass of the plain makes it easy to track the thieves. The bent and crushed stems are clearly visible. Soon the thieves themselves come into view, heads and shoulders bobbing above the grass. If you have companions, turn to 14. If you are alone, turn to 356. I should have waited, probably. 14 companions, or 356. Hello. Why, you wonder, have the thieves made it so easy for you to follow them? The rope, the easy trail, it's as if they want you to catch them up. If you have a bow and arrows, turn to 220. Otherwise, turn to 252. 220, 252. There's something dodgy, something really fishy going on here. You think Heather is behind this? Heather could be behind this. He could be in cahoots with Morgana. And furthermore, I still don't trust either my court sorcerer, because he might be in cahoots with Morgana, and he is the one who told me to go to Fallow Dale. So they might all be in cahoots. Bow, arrows, question mark, or no. So 252. You are no match for the 6 pygmy orcs you have been following. They allow you to catch up, surround you, and then their vicious blades flash in the morning sun. Your adventure is over. So, the end. Right, so there you have it. Let's see, I'll just do my... Right, so that's it, really. Interesting story so far. I'm really liking the story. It seems a little bit sort of, the way the narrative flows is a little bit strange. Sometimes it just feels a bit light and like there's lacking any detail or flavor, but it is a very small book. It's very, I don't know, it just feels like there should have been a little bit more. I don't feel, I mean, it doesn't really make me feel so engaged in it, I think. But yeah, it seems all right. Yeah. It's a bit early to make a judgment about it just from one playthrough. But there's something is going on here, and of course it does say if I have companions, which indicates to me that I can wait for reinforcements in my room. Maybe I should even go to my room first, in which case I might fight the pygmy orcs. I don't know, but I'll try again one of these days, and for my next episode. I don't think I have anything else to say today. I don't have that many anecdotes today, do I? It's a nice sunny summery day, so I'm going to go for a walk and enjoy the nice warm weather while we have it. So can't be sitting inside doing videos all day. Certainly shouldn't. So thank you very much for watching, if you watched all this way through, and I'll be looking forward to the next episode, and I hope you will too. I hope you enjoyed this one, this first jaunt into the masks of Mayhem. Yeah, I still don't know what to make of it, but we'll find out more about it next time. So goodbye for now. Bye bye.